Hi guys, and thank you so much for joining our webinar today. My name is Dhruv Singhal, a rising junior at Metea Valley High School in Aurora, Illinois, as well as the founder of Open Gears. And it's fantastic to see that many of you guys are interested in listening to the speaker today. So once again, I hope that this event provides you with new insight and new knowledge. I would now like to welcome our speakers today, Sergeant Tony Reid and Ms. Grace Cantwell. Sergeant Tony Reid is the co-founder of Drone Cadets, a program that exposes and trains drone technology to the youth. He is also active in the United States National Guard and has been in the UAV industry for 5 years. Sergeant Reid is extremely passionate about drones and their beneficial uses in society, and he is more than excited to talk about his journey and his work with drones. Thus, I encourage you to extract as much as you can during this webinar, and please do not hesitate to ask any questions, whether you decide to unmute and say them or put them in the chat. Now, thank you so much, Sergeant Reid and Ms. Cantwell, for taking time out of your busy schedules to help inspire students to pursue your STEM careers. And without further ado, please give your undivided attention and a warm virtual round of applause. Thank you so much, Sergeant Reid and Ms. Cantwell.
No, thank you. Literally, that was an awesome introduction, right? Everyone, let's get a thumbs up. Let's put a thumbs up in the section here for that awesome introduction, Young man here, give him another thumbs up for his passion and his nonprofit and the founding, how he utilized his time during COVID to actually create Open Gears, right?
Thank you so much, Sergeant Reid.
No problem, man. Thank you all for joining us, all right? Myself and Ms. Grace. How you doing, Ms. Grace? How are you feeling?
Feeling great today. And thank you for having us here. You just inspired me to make another slide. So talk a little while, Tony, because I have something else I wanted to add to our presentation.
Sure. So you know what? I love to ask this question every time before we start anything. Everyone in the chat box, yell it out. I don't care. Unmute yourself. Let me know. Has anyone ever flown a drone? Yes or no? Put it up, type it in, let me know, because that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about drones. And if you have flown a drone, let me know what is your interest? What draws you to the drone technology field? What is it that that makes you get up at night and say, hey, I got a drone, What makes you drive? All right, so put it up in the chat rooms, Those are the two questions. Yes, IRA, yes, okay. Looks like I love being able to program them. Yes, okay. Amashjan, yes, all right, you've flown a drone. I like this response. I'm digging the way this is getting started. I like to be interactive, all right? We are interactive group here. That's why Drone Cadets has gone so far, right? We are very interactive and very, very personable. So let's get right into it, Grace, Miss Grace, are you ready or should I keep going?
Well, I'd ask them also, what's like the worst thing that ever happened to you with a drone? We love those stories. We collect those stories. It's like a little hobby.
Yes, that's a great question. Stories.
Well, for me, I've flown a small drone, a small mini drone. It got stuck in my sister's hair. So that's a funny story to share.
I love it. And does anyone else have any other stories like that, does anyone ever crashed a drone? Drone lost control and fly away. We could never find it. Hey, there we go. Hey, that's how you respect the hobby, right? You respect the drone industry a whole lot more when you either crash or have a flyaway. You learn to be a little bit more cautious when you have the next drone that you buy, So anybody else ever flown away, crash stories, anything insane? Said as Miss Grace is, getting
you know where the drone flew, don't you? We like to talk about this. Where was this drone manufactured? Just a guess. Where was that drone that flew away and you never saw it again? Where do you think it was manufactured? Let's see what we got. China. Good guess. Okay, so every drone, well, not every drone, a lot of drones have a come home function, right? So where do you think home was programmed for that drone? So we always say, yeah, it flew to China. It thought it was flying to China. So it's a good lesson, quick lesson. We always tell our students, get to know your drone before you ever fly it, read through the manual, check out all the settings, and reset things like that so that it's your home and not China that it's going to be flying to, come what may. Little tip.
All right. Thank you.
We were all night. All right.
So now, now we got everyone settled in. You're right to answer the questions. Now let's talk about us. Let's talk about the drone industry, but let's also talk about us, Miss Grace. Who are we? That's what everyone wants to know. What is, drone cadets? Who are these people? Where'd they come from? Well, I'm gonna tell you where we came from, all right? All right, we are based here in good old New York. Myself, I'm in Middletown, New York. Miss Grace is in Stormville, New York. I said that right, correct? Right? I said that correct?
Yeah,
Ms.
we're
Grace?
about to be aptly named. I'm looking at the window. It's about to have a real big storm.
No big storm over here in New York. So, who are we, right? So, as you know, we were being introduced drone technology, right? We are literally drone cadets. We are one segment under an umbrella. So we belong to an umbrella called the Aerial Systems Group International. We're under that umbrella of consortium, or collectively we have SMEs, which means subject matter expert companies that we collaborated with. So, with drone cadets, the first phase where me and Miss Grace, we teach the youth. We're talking from 8 years old and beyond. That's our starting point, where we teach the youth at Drone Cadets exactly what drones are, what they're made of, from the coding aspect, from the skills aspect is what we focus on, and the ethics. Now, what is ethics, right? Why do I need to know about ethics?
Oh my, she's jumping ahead again.
There we go. I'm so sorry. You know what? All right.
So let me jump in here then. So we are co-founders of Drone Cadets, and our mission is to help break the chains that bind so many by offering an incentive and an alternative to the high cost of college, if you want one, through drone training. We also open windows in lives to give you an idea of possibly a new vocational study that you'd like to pursue in college, all right? But we're really dedicated to helping to build the ethics and the character of the youth while feeding their fertile minds of the world's future leaders. And by ethics, that's really at the heart of what Drone Cadets is all about, because we believe in doing the right thing even when nobody's around. So that means getting to know the rules. So we're going to talk about today an unmanned technology workforce pathway, what that means, prerequisites to entering in the drone industry. What can drones do? That's a huge part of what we'll talk about today. What jobs are available, and passing your trust exam and getting your FAA drone certification. And then we'll have some questions and answers. Quick time check. How long do we have? Till what time?
So I typically keep my webinars for around 1 hour.
Oh, good.
Around 1 hour. Sometimes they go 1 hour to 15 minutes, or 1 hour, 15 minutes, but it's okay. Right. Yeah.
Good. So we'll try to leave a long time for you guys to ask questions so that we can give you what you actually really want. So ASGI, or Aerial Systems Group International, as Sergeant Reid said, it's a consortium of different companies that work together on different projects, but one feeds into the other. So in step one, towards your workforce pathway, that's where Drone Cadets lives. All right, our focus is on safety, flight skills, and coding. From there, if you choose, you can study and take a exam or a test prep class to get your FAA remote pilot certification. Then number 3 is you actually will take that test and pass it and get your remote pilot certification, which is sort of the entryway into everything else to do with drones. And all different types of careers. Even if you don't want to be a drone pilot, that's where you start with your certification. And from there, you can get advanced drone operations courses and obviously a career. So we always say prerequisites, imagination, to quote Albert Einstein, imagination is more important than knowledge. If you've got an open mind, then that's a good thing to start with. That's where we can work with that. Integrity, good communications, be a team player, and then math and reading, it's the basics that you need. We start children out sometimes younger than 8 years old if they know how to read. And we've taught some pretty sharp 6-year-olds, quite honestly, how to do drones, everything to do with drones. And then once you get your hands on a drone, we believe you'll probably develop a passion to fly unless you have some really bad experiences. And we work people through that in Drone Cadets so that they don't have really bad experiences. And you'll learn to code, build, and repair drones, and then obviously get your FAA drone certification. So we're going to talk a lot about what can drones do. Sergeant Reid, where should we begin?
Survey says let's start with agriculture. Let's do it.
All right. So hopefully this will work. Yeah, boy. Okay, so we're going to show a couple of videos. This is a quick video. Oh, you can't hear me. I just saw on the screen.
You just stop sharing your screen.
You just stopped sharing your screen.
I just stopped it because I could tell you guys weren't going to be able to hear that.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So
in the meantime, like I have a question. So when it comes to coding drones, like what coding languages do you use? Is that like block coding?
So essentially we start right with the first would be Scratch, block-based coding, Blockly. I know those are the two main points, and then drone blocks, which is another form of Scratch, just re-engineered with a new name, slapped a new name on it. So block-based coding is where we start them. And then we get into the real base coding, which is Python, which is literally the bee's knees. All right. Oh.
And that's a good place to start because this is about drone coding.
Exactly.
Can you hear this?
No.
I don't hear anything right now. I think because it's muted on your end. It's muted.
Because I can't hear it either. Maybe that's why. I apologize, guys. Here we go.
The problem is when you have
Here, we'll start right here.
Drone flights are now integrated as part of our harvest readiness for cotton. We're able to create variable rate maps to spray only certain sections of the field.
The problem is when you have a 100 to 200 acre field, you can't see in the middle of it.
But no one's going to argue with me today that you can't pull up that same 160 acre field and in 2 or 3 minutes, get your tailgate down, throw a Phantom 4 up in the air, get some amazing imagery, and then get in your truck and drive home.
We can scan the field with a drone in a matter of 30 minutes and have a complete map mapping out the health index of the whole area.
So we get a really detailed information from the drones because you're making tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars decisions on information you have. To be able to make that decision with information that's a day old is leaps and bounds ahead of how we were doing it just a few years ago.
The ease of use to actually make the maps and the quality of the maps, it's kind of the best in the industry.
We used to say millions of acres a year, now it's millions of acres a month, and probably not too long before it's millions of acres a week.
We've obviously looked at multiple platforms that offer mapping services, and they can't touch you guys.
The real world data at the tailgate is going to keep improving, and we're going to get better cameras, we're going to get better data processing. That allows the industry to really progress at a very fast pace.
Precision farming is great, we're doing surgical.
So Drone Deploy is the software that we're talking about. And look at the date on this, is 2018. So we know that it's leaps and bounds beyond that. But basically this is where you would code a drone, and you saw those pictures, the imagery here of how the drone, this is the flight path of the drone going zigzagging across this field. And depending on the application and the data that you're trying to collect, these images, the drone as it's going across the field is taking hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of images that will possibly even overlap each other by up to 75, 85% for a 3D model, if that's what you're doing. And from that, then you're gathering data, and then you'll be able to put it into software that by using a special type of lens that you can set looking for a specific color, you can tell which of the parts of the field that are healthy and which parts might need some attention.
So do these drones have like special sensors that help detect such statistics and fields?
So yeah, you essentially that's exactly what it is, right? So what you're looking to do is just save money, right? These farmers, they spend so much money, water, transportation wise, and with that data alone, right? If we're fertilization, that data alone gives us that exact pinpoint or estimation of exactly where they should be utilizing either more of their resources or less of their resources. So that, that data alone is key points to saving. If we're saving 20% of what you used to spend, that's a lot of money, and that's a lot of cost savings where you can utilize those cost savings somewhere else. So that's, that's where the key points of application really, really are detailed and where it's actually making sense. So.
And it's also good for the environment because, like, if you're a farmer and pennies on a bushel can make the difference between a good crop and a bad crop. All right, if you have to buy a specific insecticide, for example, because a part of your field has some insect damage, you don't want to have to spread it across the whole field. One, it's expensive, and two, not everybody wants that on their vegetables or their fruits. So this is a way they can, like they said, we're going surgical. We can give what we need to the exact spot we need it, and the rest of it doesn't have to have that. So
that was 2018, right? So now we're precision's even more better right now with the agriculture drones.
More better, Sergeant Reid. Is it really?
No, I'm sorry. It's more specific. All right, we're more detailed. Don't jump off. All right. But let's hear from the audience. Why? So what is this something that you guys would love to see, or something that you would love to entail in, or to do maybe in your town, maybe tackle in your town? If there's farming where you guys have, if you are farming or looking to get into this type of application, would this be something that could enlighten you? Let's hear it. It's a yes or no type question. Would this be something you might be interested in, audience members? Would you be interested in actually learning more about drone agriculture, understanding and reading data?
Right. Yeah, especially because drones are able to cover like massive distances in the air. It makes it a lot more applicable to the agricultural field, being able to scan all these sorts of data out of it, whether it's healthy or not, what types of crops are in the field, and then making decisions based off that. So yeah, drones is like a really good fit in the agricultural industry, especially.
That's only one. That's only just a small tidbit of the industry, man. We haven't gone through it all.
Every image on this montage represents something else that drones can do, and we don't really have time to go into every single one of them.
Let's go one more. Let's go one more. Come on.
All right. So what would you like, Sergeant?
Let's go T&D. Let's go law enforcement. Let's do something. Let's go polar bear. All right. Let's go poaching. Let's do something.
All right. So let me do this. I'll do a twofer.
We got two for guys. This is the first. This is the first.
Well, so what I'll do is I'm going to open up one and pause it so we can be on the beginning of that one, and then we'll go right into another one. How's that? So we can save time.
Rock and roll. Let's rock and roll. Audience members, let me know in the chat. Are you learning something? Give me a thumbs up if you're learning something. If you're not, give me a thumbs down so that we can help you learn some more. All right, give me a thumbs up if you're learning something. Thumbs down if you're not. I'd like to get you guys engaged. I'm all about engagement.
2 years ago, DJI teamed up with FLIR, the world leader in innovative imaging systems, to bring thermal data to a new generation of pilots. The partnership gave rise to the Zenmuse XT, a highly sensitive thermal camera that enabled drone operations for everyday firefighters, emergency responders, agronomists, inspectors, and more. To enhance the capabilities of these new pilots, DJI and FLIR are back again to bring you the Zenmuse XT2, the ultimate thermal imaging.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. So this guy goes on and on.
Structural components and the environment as well. Dual sensor capability is a game changer. It provides all the data we need to schedule site maintenance in one flight, significantly increasing our productivity.
Working behind the dual sensors is a set of processors that enable the XT2's machine intelligence. This onboard intelligence gives pilots a host of smart features that turn the XT2's vast stream of thermal data into actionable insight.
So I'm going to stop it there. So do you want to explain this?
So essentially, since I'm in the field a lot, we're utilizing these RGB data, all right, with thermal capabilities, especially in the T&D, transmission distribution lines, by giving our clients exactly detailed information on exactly what the scope or what is really going on with their transmission lines, you know, for the engineers. This type of data is essential, especially in the most hottest areas like West Coast, where I've been deployed to and utilize this sensor, you know, letting them know that, hey, a lot of your poles are either getting rusted or they're actually dying out. You know, we have a lot of areas that you're loosening bolts, which can start fires. On top of that, when that starts fires, you know, structures get damaged.
Yeah. So you can see by this background, it wouldn't take much of a spark to set that whole area on fire. And this is a big preventive
Even while the drone is flying. Never miss the heat with Temp Measure, allowing pilots to get detailed temperature data in real time. Quickly interpret this complex thermal information with FLIR MSX technology and isotherm controls, letting you overlay visual data on top of thermal imagery. And
all right, so explaining that, now let me back it up so we can get to see that, because this is huge. What are you saying? What?
That is very huge, you know, especially for saving, like, you know, like today, you know, unfortunately, you know, people probably could use that right now in Surfside, Florida, you know, where, you know, unfortunately that building came down, you know, right. And seeing where, you know, since the rubble still has fires happening, that type of imagery could give, you know, individuals, first responders, hey, there could be someone down there, or you know, a lifeless or live body is still down in that trapped debris. So right. These are the life-saving tools utilized to make what it works for drones to be as capable as they are right now. That proof of concept is what proves it right there, guys.
So there's two cameras they were talking about. The visual camera, this is what you would see. Mm-hmm. And then with the thermal, this is what you see.
This complex,
so you want to be able to see with a naked eye.
Mm-hmm. And now you know, see, it's a whole different game when you see that. And you're like, wow.
Yeah. With FLIR MSX technology and
what were you saying, Sergeant?
Yeah, with this alone, you know, you guys literally could go out and get your thermography license, you know, UAV thermography 1 with FLIR, and you actually get certified when you actually become a Part 107 pilot. So these are, you know, these are the type of applications or licenses or certifications you want to go after for yourself so that you can literally be above or, you know, above your competition and, you know, stand out from the rest of the drone pilots. You know, just a little footnote for you guys.
Mm-hmm. And there's plenty of industries where you can set a temperature range and anything that's outside
immediately
that range,
identify what's important with Temp Alarm, alerting you of any objects exceeding a set temperature limit.
When inspecting our equipment, it's important that we identify overheating components prior to failure. With the XT2's advanced radiometric settings, we're able to fly in close and scan the area in detail for any potential hazards. After a few adjustments on the DJI Pilot app, the XT2 will alert us if there's a component that requires maintenance.
Fly in more.
So that's enough of this video. I think we got the gist of it. but you can tell the what that means with the thermal camera. Now we're going to show you a new drone. You can still see my screen, I hope. And this is called the Brink Lemur drone. And it's got a very specific application, and that is that it's used by law enforcement. And it can do, if you just go straight to their website, you find exactly what they have. All right, it can do a couple of unusual things. Let's see. There, for example, this is what we call turtle mode. And if anybody's ever done drone racing, you'll know that that's a very useful mode to have on your drone. It can flip itself over if it lands on the wrong side, so it can relaunch. But this one also can break through windows. You see, it's got that little foot that swings out, and it's used in this one specific application to break through a window. And we would talk in class about why would that be important? Well, you can see in law enforcement, if you've got a situation like a hostage situation, for example, and they want to get eyes on the situation, they can send a drone like this in, and it actually can fly along. I don't know if there's a picture of it. Could deliver something. It can talk to people that are there. It can open doors and break through windows. So that's another one, the Lemur drone. And this is new in 2021.
Yes. Good stuff. Thank you, Ms. Grace. Let's continue moving on.
So let's go back to our presentation. Let's see what's next.
All right.
That's not one.
So let's hear from some of the audience members. What do you guys think about those 3 videos so far? Is it something that you've seen before? Something that you want to get involved in? You know, do you see yourself, you know, maybe looking forward to doing something like that, or you just need to know more information about it? You know, let me know. Let me know in the comments section.
I mean, for me personally, like when you showed the video about using drones to, you know, go up buildings and see whether people were inside, like I personally never thought that would be an applicable usage of drones. So to me, I found that really interesting and very like impactful, especially during like a fire emergency too.
Yeah, definitely.
And there is a lot of companies right now, you know, that are actually enhancing their products and their services when it comes to those type of situations, man, where, you know, they're creating life-saving drones where you can just jump onto it and you can literally fly down. But, you know, those are all proprietary things being done in the making. So, you know, I can keep you updated on that and give you some links and everything. You can see for yourself. All right. We're going to learn a little bit about parts of a drone, Ms. Grace.
Well, what do you think, Sergeant Reid? We got these slides in here about, we always like to leave people with more than they came with, because you learning about what drones can do is different than learning about the drones that you guys would fly. So, you know, we just like to start by labeling the parts of a drone from the hull on down and showing you how these things look different on different types of drones. You know, the camera on this drone looks very different, for example, than the camera on the hexacopter. So we've got 2 quadcopters, and then this is a, well, wait a second, that's an octocopter, isn't it?
Octocopter. Oh, actually, wait.
Yeah, that's an octocopter.
Octocopter it is.
Yeah. But let's get into the directions so that you can give you something that you can keep that will serve you in your drone life, as well as beyond that if you ever do anything with aviation. Sergeant?
We got the drone lingo here. Everyone say drone lingo. This is what we speak. So we talk. With my students, I want them to speak drone lingo every time. So rolling, we're rolling from side to side every time you're functioning your drone. When we're doing a drone functions check, rolling from the right, rolling to the left, all right? Moving forward. Pitching this direction is going forward and backwards, all right? You would utilize that with your right thumb, all right? Right thumb is what you would utilize both of these functions with when you have your drone, the roll and the pitch. on your right thumb. All right, moving forward some more. Throttle, having your drone thrust to the air, up and down motions when you're doing your drone functions check. Very, very important on that. And your yaw, all right? We're turning from 360s, all right, to 45-degree angles so that you can literally turn your drone in the air, getting it to the point where you need to get to, getting it to the ascent. So, you know, those four functions, those four terminologies of throttle, yaw, pitch, and roll needs to come off your tongue like every time when you're talking in the field. If you're with me.
Can we sing?
I don't. Do we have to sing? Let's sing.
I love to sing.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Oops, I don't even have it in here. All right. So I'm gonna go back. So there's a quick what we call a mnemonic that we can teach you guys so you can remember roll, pitch, throttle, and yaw and what they mean. And it's sung to the tune of Row, Row, Row Your Boat, which is a song most of you should be familiar with. You're going to sing with me, right, Sergeant? All right, ready, set? Here's the beat. 1, 2, 3, go. Roll, roll, left and right.
Roll up
and down. Pitch goes forward, pitch goes back. Yaw turns all around.
I think because I think both of you guys were speaking at the same time. Maybe one person do it.
Killing me. All right, roll, roll, left and right. Throttle up and down. Pitch goes forward, pitch goes back. Yaw turns all around. Roll, roll, left and right. Throttle up and down. Pitch goes forward, pitch goes back. Yaw turns all around. We actually make the kids usually sing that for like a minute. But it helps. That's how we learn, right? So that's a little gift to you. So let's tell them about trust.
Get into it. Let's get right into the trust. What is actually trust?
Well, it's an acronym for a new test that every drone user, drone pilots, even a recreational drone pilot, and there is no age limit. There's no too young, there's no too old. Every single person who uses a drone recreationally has to know this. They have to go to the FAA website and pick one of the providers, go there, take a free course, and pass an exam. This just went into effect last week. You heard it here first, folks. So we're going to put in the chat a URL. How's that sound?
Yep.
I'm going to stop the share because it's behind the share, and I can't get to it.
So one of the things, you know, when you actually are a recreational flyer or a hobbyist, you know, your drone weighs more than 0.55 pounds, you got to register your drone to the FAA's drone zone website, you know. If you want to pass the trust exam, right? You want to pass that test. How many questions is it roughly, Ms. Grace? It's like 25 or so questions.
Like
is that fair?
3 sections. You can do it in less than an hour for taking the course and the exam. So what they'll do is they'll teach you something and then they'll give you a little quiz. And it's only 3 or 4 questions at a time, but you cannot fail. That's something important to realize. They want you to pass, so you can just keep guessing until you get it right. All right, so I'm gonna put.
Yeah.
I had a quick question. So what exactly does this trust exam cover? Is it just more on the drone basics like the pitch, roll, yaw that you guys were talking about?
No, it's nothing like
it mostly
it's all
provides adult safety education. It's literally for the recreational flyers to actually understand the important safety and the regulatory systems that's coming out through the FAA, so that because back then, it was the Wild West, right? So anybody could do whatever they want. Now this is something that other providers that they put together, where you have to literally know what not to fly, what areas, it literally covers every scope, and it literally gives you enough details where it's mostly like learning, how to become a Part 107 pilot, but it literally gives you the details as a hobbyist of what you need to know, because obviously as a hobbyist, you're not going to go out looking to actually fly in, Class B airspace, and if you are, they actually cover that inside of the trust. So it makes sure you understand the safety guidelines from a local, state, and a federal side, that you actually understand where you can, where you can't fly, and it covers every basis. You need to actually, from your psychological side, your basis of exactly, if you were drinking, you can't, what you can't fly, where you can fly. And it gives you, this, when you are responsible for once, you're literally held responsible for the things after you pass this exam. So, they're cracking down on fines like crazy, FAA. They're getting crazy with the fines, and they literally will find a recreational pilot, or, a guy who literally flew his drone near a helicopter, police helicopter, and was preventing the helicopter from actually doing its job. And they fined him and arrested him. So, they make an example out of you with things. What you make, don't be that guy, don't be that girl. So trust is here to make sure you do the right thing.
Okay, so let's get back into the rest of the meat of what we want to share with you. But definitely, everybody get that link from that I just put in the chat, and go in and take the exam. You cannot fail. Take the test, the quiz, and read about it, and you'll definitely pass.
And another question, so is this test something that even casual drone flyers must take as well? Like if you're just flying your drone out there just in the park, like this is an
Just for
exam.
fun. Yeah, every recreational flyer. So in order to make money to fly a drone, you'll need to take a different test.
Like the Part 107.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. This is just anybody who wants to fly a drone is supposed to take this course and pass this test, and you'll get a little certificate. And you're supposed to keep the certificate with you at all times when you're flying, and present it to the FAA or local law enforcement when asked, which usually would mean you did something bad. Don't do something bad. So unmanned aerial systems are a fancy way of saying drone. And I think what we want to bring to your attention here is that a drone isn't just the part that flies. It's a system that involves a remote controller and
ground station.
What was that?
Or ground station.
Or ground station, right. And the part that flies. And as Sergeant Reid said before, there's two categories, the ones that are 55 pounds and heavier, like this one here, or there's the SUAS, which is what we would fly, the small unmanned aerial system, which is anything that's less than 55 pounds is considered an SUAS. So we talked a little bit about this drones in action, the T&D lines, transmission and distribution. I think we don't have a lot of time for the video here, Sergeant. What do you think?
Roger. No. Probably you could, probably show later.
How long is the video?
It's maybe about 3 minutes, maybe less.
Watch it. We can still watch it, I think.
Yeah.
You guys, audience, yeah, let me know your thoughts.
Why not, right? Let's
watch it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, this is me on the. Where was that? I believe I was near Big Bear over in California, and we had to inspect for PSD&G. They are 375 kilovolt structures, and we were looking for just damaged structures. We're looking for damages on their transmission lines, and that's what we're sent out to do. And I'm here with my visual observer, and he's keeping eyes. He's actually taking a shot.
Observer?
Say it again.
What's a visual observer, Sergeant?
So, visual observer is an individual who literally is your co-pilot, making sure that you, as the PIC, which is pilot command, do not crash your drone. All right, these are eyes and ears as you're out there in the field. Pilot in command is the one that's definitely controlling the drone. The visual observer is calling out to make sure there's letting you know, hey, there's birds, or there's a structure too close to. And for this scope that we were utilizing, we're just taking shots of all the transmission lines themselves, making sure the poles are right, and taking that data, and they were processing that data to actually look for any type of anomalies that that could be harmful, like, or that literally could need some updates and not like upkeeping. California's huge, right? So you could fill at least like 7 New Yorks in California. So imagine the scope we had to do. The scope we had to do was we had 800 miles of transmission lines to shoot. So just imagine that alone. Imagine that with a team of like 30 guys. You tell me how long that would take. That's a lot of lines. It's a lot of time, and that's a lot of stress, and that's a lot of heat, and that's a lot of batteries. All right. So but these are the experiences that you literally get in. You get involved with these cool missions, and you communicate with your pilot, your VO at all times. And this is what I actually got to do. So as you guys can see, I'm on the other side of the structure there, calling out to my VO. And, we're just taking shots and making sure we get every shot list we need to make sure that the scope is done. This we have to do this every time. It took us at least 45 minutes to an hour to knock this out. So imagine that. Imagine the amount we got done. So it was strenuous, but it was fun, but it was hot. And I got the biggest tan of my life. All right. So yeah.
And it's good money.
Yeah, it's very sustainable. I would say it's very sustainable. If you're looking to get into the field, I literally have all information if you guys ever want to get into, and the connections that you need to actually join something like this. So there you have it.
Yep. All right. So let's talk about the next thing on our list, which would be what you are doing today.
Oh my gosh. So telecom, right? That's what we're doing today. We are doing telecom, doing cell tower inspections. Right now, I'm on site right now as I'm with you guys. I want to give you guys a quick showcase of what I'm looking at today. This is what I got going on.
Oh, do I stop the share?
Right.
Oh, look at that nasty pole.
Look at that pole there. What am I shooting? Well, right now I'm getting a shot list, right? What I'm doing is to be able to create a 3D model of this area right here, so that when the engineers and the data processors look at this, they'll be the ones looking for anomalies and looking for space, if there's any cracks in any of these orbits or these rads that I'm taking shots of. And I'm just making sure I get 75 to 80% of the pole, so they can make a 3D model, send it off to the client. The client is Dish, making sure that Dish could do whatever they want to do with the data. And that's why I'm here.
So you're using the drone just to capture a 3D model of that building, right?
Yep, I'm utilizing the drone to get a 3D model of this. And it's been a long day. It's been really hot out here, but making sure
I'll show a picture from this current.
There it is. There she is, drones in action.
Yeah, so you've got to orbit around this whatever cell phone tower that they send you to. They'll give you like a map of maybe 100 poles, and you got to go from one to the other and do orbits all the way around it, taking photos, like maybe 1,000, 1,500 photos per pole, right, Tony?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At least, and at different levels. So you'll keep going down 10 feet for each orbit, and different angles until you're done with the whole pole.
So it's like painting a picture, right? So you want to make sure you paint the picture, you see it, and you want to make sure you get every angle you can at every angle not possible. 60 degrees, from 35 to 45 degrees. You want to get as much as you can. The more data, the much better that the 3D processor and the processing comes out, and much prettier. Then you can share it with everyone. Look, guys, look what I did. I took a shot of this. This is awesome. And look what I've. So this is literally what's part of the infrastructure plan in the United States right now. Making sure our infrastructure is better, 5G, adding those things as we, upgrade. So these are the things that's going on in the United States, and it's going all around the whole country. It's a national thing going on. So if you guys see a bunch of drones on, somewhere, be like, hey, they're doing the same project that Sergeant Reid is doing. So, don't be alarmed. They're not taking photos of you, all right? They're not spying on you. They're taking data of the cell tower. Just to let you guys know, okay? Move on. Let's do it. Oh, my.
Here we have another video.
So, drone deliveries. I'm pretty sure you guys are seeing what's going on in the real world. Walmart acquired Drone Up, which will be start doing drone deliveries. Wing is another company from Google, subsidiary of Google. They're doing drone deliveries. It's becoming a real thing. COVID-19 has set a precedent for how drone technology can be evolved. It can be utilized in life-saving techniques and life-saving applications. So, what I've got the privilege of doing, I got to deliver coffee. Why not, right? Proof of concept, making sure it works. And then once it works, you test out even more. This is the things that make things even better. You take something, and when you're doing it, you make it better by, a test, letting it get tested even more. Pushing the limits, all right? Adding in what you need to add in to make things better, your application, the drone itself, or it can actually do AI, machine learning, so it can actually know exactly, hey, that's a tree branch, that's a wire, let's avoid that. Let's not crash into that. So, where we can finding out exactly where I want to actually drop this delivery point to, because, United States here, we have a lot of trees, right? A lot of areas where trees, a lot of areas where houses are set in some very peculiar areas. So you got to find the best areas to find and put people's packages. So, this is us testing R&D, and these are the things we're doing in today's world to making sure that these proof of concept works. This was this winter time, as you guys can see. It was this past winter, and we got to actually test this theory out, and we're continuing on to make things better and better.
The part where you actually delivered it. Sorry.
That's fine.
Well, it's fun to see that part.
Yeah, it's fun to actually do it. But the back end story is that it's not easy, right? It's not easy, but you keep working at it, you keep doing it, plugging along, making adjustments with the team, and before you know it, you have yourself a sustainable application that people could utilize, and that you can start, making money, being profitable of it. Drones literally do save time when it comes to delivering packages. It's just that now we have to figure out the battery process, right? The longevity of drones flying from one point to the next. Beyond the visual line of sight, already here, a lot of companies are starting to get that waiver where you can fly beyond visual line of sight. And, it's just about the drones themselves. How can we re-engineer drones, the battery life, where it can be utilized and, continue on with the mission? How can we be the next, big thing, and a lot of companies are taking it on. Huge companies, corporations are taking it on, and they're, willing to take that challenge. And since we're a little company, we're willing to, take the challenge as well, see what we could do with it.
And I think I should add, when people think about drone deliveries and all these drones that are going to be in our skies, and why is it cheaper and we're going to lose all these jobs? It's really going to be used for like the last few miles of the delivery. So everything's going to stay the way it is, except for that getting that package from wherever that depot is, where all the packages are, and then to your front door. That's where you're going to see drone deliveries utilized, because that's the most expensive part in some cases. So that's we've done drone deliveries now. We like to do them with our students. We have more videos we could show you. Of course, the time doesn't allow it, but it's a lot of fun, and it's unique right now. But what do you think? 2 years, Sergeant? Everybody's going to see drones. Maybe 2 years.
They're doing it big time.
Yeah, we're very close.
Very close.
All right.
Getting to that last hour. All right.
Yes. So let's see. What is next? Oh, let's talk about emerging technologies.
Well, we only got about like 5 minutes left, Chris. So let's get into
No,
it quickly.
Gene, you gotta do a quick then.
Well, like we can go a little beyond 7 o'clock. We can go a little bit beyond 5 more minutes, maybe 10 to 15 more minutes.
Okay.
You guys have time. You guys have time. Don't feel constrained with the time limit, guys. Like, because this is awesome stuff, and I want our audience to be hearing all this awesome stuff that you guys have prepared. So yeah, keep chugging with your information.
Roger. I appreciate it.
Okay. So I don't know why it's having
Technology.
trouble. Let's talk about emerging technologies. Go ahead.
That sector is, so right now with the development of with the drones literally being the way they are, we're going to have an unmanned traffic management system. So now that drones literally are going to be within the 400 AGL aspect, the 700 AGL aspect, that
You know what
literally
AGL is?
above ground level. Well, we'll
There you go.
above ground level. So what will within that realm right there, right? That height, when you're in 400 feet, it doesn't. You're actually literally the noise constraint of drones will not be an issue for people because obviously drones are very loud, so people don't even hear it. So another thing with that unmanned traffic management system is that it needs to be able to talk to other areas of aviation, helicopters that's going to be in those airspaces, and that's important. That's an emerging technology factor, that sector that's being developed. Like, hey, we're going to need people to help us by understanding byways and highways of flying within these scopes. So that's very, very big in the next 2-3 years when we actually see the onboarding of drone delivery air transportation. Not even just, we're talking about people, even human transportation, the Uber of flight, where we're actually like flying people in and out of the cities. So that's going to be their niche of 400 to 700 feet in the air. And that literally is a huge aspect that people need to understand. It's going to be big.
So let me paint a picture quick. You're going to get into on a city street, like say New York City. You're going to go into the lobby of a building. You're going to take an elevator to the top floor, to the roof. You're going to enter a vehicle that will then fly you, and maybe a couple other people with you, to the top of another building across town. And you'll get out and you'll take the elevator back down. And now suddenly you're across town, which in Manhattan could take, a half an hour to go a few blocks. You just did it in 5 minutes. And that's coming definitely within your lifetime, probably within 3 to 5 years, Sergeant Reid?
Yeah, it's they're already utilizing that in Dubai. So they're testing big time in Dubai with that, because they're they're definitely the epicenter for that. It's reality. It's coming to work. It's happening. It's a now thing. And now what we got to do is just make sure we get out. Make sure the federal aviation, they have to keep up with this. That's what happens with FAA. They're kind of slow, and technology moves too fast for them. So moving on to the urban air mobility side, that's exactly what we're talking about. That's the urban side of everything.
Sorry, I skipped. You should go back.
So that's what others would be doing in the urban UAM aspect. All right. So next would be the data acquisition side. You want to go back to data acquisition, Ms. Grace?
Okay.
Data acquisition and processing. So with so much data being utilized with these drones, there has to be an area, right? So this comes into cyber side, right? Protection. There has to be someone or something or a cloud, which everyone's going, which is easier and cheaper than using servers. A cloud where it's protected. It's a lot of data being utilized. These flights I'm doing right now, I have to give this data to someone, and that data has to be protected, has to be held somewhere. So data acquisition processing is a big thing in the drone field. So that's something on the back end that you guys, if you're not going to be drone pilots, you can actually be on the backside of that by protecting that data and by processing that data. And then virtual reality architect is by building out these an architectural area where, you know, flights would actually go about. So literally, you want to build up these environments on the virtual reality side and build up the traffic highways and byways. That's where in the virtual reality architect, hey, this is how I want, this is how I see drones will be flying throughout New York City or elsewhere. And this is the virtual side of it. And then we have to put that into effect into the real time. So, you know, these are just the emerging
What do
technology.
you think, Sergeant? So you're saying like an air traffic controller of drones is gonna like have a headset on?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Uh-huh, see?
Yeah.
So everybody who tells you you're wasting your time on all these games, that is the training ground that they are going to look for when you go to get those jobs, when you graduate. And many of these jobs are things that in 5 years, they'll be brand new jobs nobody ever heard of. They don't even exist today, but they will then, and you're going to be the ones getting those jobs.
Moving in. All right. Awesome.
So we talked a little bit about an orthomosaic before, but this is just it means you're taking all these little images, your drone is flying in a pattern, taking hundreds and thousands of little images, and then they get stitched back together to create either a model or a larger photograph or a map. These are the types of things that are used. They use orthomosaic technology to create.
Yes, yes. Good stuff. LiDAR. So LiDAR is it's called light infrared detecting. Oh, am I saying that right? I'm saying that all wrong. Saying it all wrong. All right. So it's a Miss Grace, I'm having a brain fart. Help me out. I forget what's called.
LiDAR uses light to tell density of different things. Yeah. And distance. So this is actually, I believe, an underwater picture. It's a picture of the floor of the floor of the ocean. Okay, and they use LiDAR to make this map.
It's super expensive though. LiDAR is very expensive because that laser beam, right? That they use and measure. It literally could be. It actually could be a helpful tool for buildings, roadways, you know, and it literally could help out, you know, with saving, especially lives, time, and money. Reason why I say it is because it literally can understand. You actually could tell whether a building is shifting to the left or to the right. And, you know, like it brings me back to Surfside, you know, with the building collapse. This type of technology would have been very useful, very helpful, life-saving if used when it comes to engineering, when it comes to building maintenance and you know, to go under repairs and, you know, the yearly, you know, inspections. So, you know, LiDAR is the future. Well, it's already.
Think radar using light. That's how it bounces the light, and that's how it makes this. Yeah.
Super expensive, man. So if you guys ever want to get into a field like with LiDAR, they use LiDAR a lot. They use LiDAR so much. Your Google Maps, Google Earth, literally pinpoints certain areas, buildings for structural. It's all for structural, making sure structures are, you know, are just in, you know, in code. You want to make that's and but a lot of people, you know, because they can't afford it because it's super expensive, you know, they don't use it, and you know, unfortunately, you know, buildings do collapse or pieces of buildings fall off. It could have been prevented. So you definitely want to look into LiDAR a whole lot more.
Yeah, if you want a good job, if you know how to do this, there's not a lot of people walking the earth that can say they do.
Yeah,
this would be a good certification to get in addition to your drone pilot license. We talked a little bit about thermography before. You know, it studies the differentiation of temperature along a surface, any given surface. And we showed you how, with that video, how important that can be, because it can prevent just catastrophes and save lives, as well as just provide like really good information for somebody.
Real-time data.
Yeah, real-time data. All right. So these are just some different types of jobs that you can get that you might not think of when we talk about a career in drones, but becoming a drone engineer, a UAV embedded systems developer. It's an autopilot specialist who spends their weekends building, crashing, and rebuilding drones, automating their pet feeder, and making spreadsheets to track the soil moisture of the herb garden. Perception engineer. Use optical flow visual odometry or visual analysis with a camera-based system to enable a drone to fly close to a structure, recognizing specific points. A CAD.
Sure. We use that today, though.
Yeah, a CAM engineer. Turn designs, wait, this one is covered. Turn designs into reality from creating CAD models of new UAV concepts, improving existing components to optimize for manufacturing, and generating CAM to machine parts on our in-house 5-axis mill. You will need to be willing to take on any number of tasks that face a small, fast-growing company. So these are some real-world job descriptions in drone engineering, and you can see how vastly different they are, and they just all mean the same thing: to become a drone engineer.
You want to make the screen bigger?
Yeah, just a reminder, let's try to wrap up the presentation like within 5 minutes to leave time for the Q&A. So you guys keep going through the slides, but I just want to keep the
We're almost done. Sure.
Yep.
All right, so we've talked about drone engineering enough, and more drone engineering. Becoming obviously an electrical engineer is something that can be so great for so many different industries, but certainly if you want to become a technician or developer or an electrical engineer, I mean, there's so many types of jobs that I guess if you get anything from this presentation, the thing is to understand you don't just need to be a drone pilot to get into a career that has to do with drones. But that is the way, the ticket into this whole industry is start by becoming a drone pilot, pass your test, study, prep, and pass your Part 107 so that you can make money with drones. And then all these other careers are available to you with some more training. To get certified, you have to be 16 years or older. All right, you can actually take your test at 14, but you can't actually become certified till you're 16. And that's where all it means is you can get paid to fly a drone. All right, there's an airman's knowledge test, which you will need to take, which I believe is 65 questions. I forget the exact number, but they're all multiple choice.
50 questions.
And Drone Lecture is one of our partners that administers that course. This is a pretty complicated diagram that means something very simple, and it just means that there's a whole bunch of different areas besides being a pilot. Just like we said, there's fleet management, the turquoise area. There's flight data acquisition processing, the green area. There's client services, people to talk to other people, and then advanced drone operations, which we've touched upon.
All right.
Yeah.
Continue on.
Okay. So anybody have any questions?
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much, Ms. Cantwell and Sergeant Reid, for the amazing presentation. Well, first of all, I didn't know that drones could be used in so many different places, from saving people in fires to mapping 3D models of cell phone towers, just like what Sergeant Reid is doing right now. Possibilities of drones being used in society is endless. And it's amazing on how you guys highlighted that through this presentation. And Sergeant Reid, I wanted to ask you, so when I first researched about you, I got to know that you did a lot of work with the hurricanes of Harvey and Hurricane Maria, which is absolutely fantastic, using drones to help save lives and better our society. Could you talk a little bit more about what you did with those hurricane work?
All right, so first time I got invited, I actually got deployed down was in 2017 Hurricane Maria. We had to do damage assessments with the Department of Texas Conservation. So in Texas, there's a lot of oil fields, right? A lot of oil refineries. So in order for people to actually step foot, we had to make sure it was clear. So we had to clear up neighborhoods. We saw any type of chemicals, we would take shots of that, and they would send out the hazmat unit to remove those chemicals off people's property. And then we would go out again to make sure it was clear for them to actually do it. And then we had to do a ultra mosaic and map out the areas that were mostly damaged. We took that data, we uploaded it to Google. Google Drive had to remap that area due to the fact of the damage that it literally went through. So on Google Earth, it was a totally different world from previous. So that was a pretty extensive project, but I learned so much. It's my first time actually being deployed to this type of area. We got to see firsthand how the industry was such a wild, wild west back then, because we had helicopters flying in our airspace. We had planes, National Guard. Cops was like, get that drone out of here. It was wild. It's a wild world. Fast forward to 2018, I was in Hurricane Dorian. A lot more. It was a lot more, I would say, structured and a lot more manageable. So we had to actually take shots of areas where people actually, unfortunately, where people died, man. It was, because in the Bahamas, it's like not here in the mainland where you can actually escape someplace. Bahamas is all surrounded by water. So if you didn't get to higher ground or didn't leave that area of Bahamas, sister islands, then you were doomed, man. So we literally had to go, just take shots of those areas. Fortunately, the people that did die, we had to get data of that, send it over to the government, and they had to do body count. From that body count, they literally had to do a whole lot more mapping and then send that data up to Google so that could be restructured and reanalyzed. And the Google Earth, literally, it's a totally different world. So, it's been life-changing, but it's something that is needed, that we need more people. It's hurricane season now, unfortunately, right? So, we could use you if you're interested. Come on down, get suited up, fly you out there and learn something,
Right. Yeah, and that's fantastic of what you've been doing with those drones, Sergeant Reid. So can you guys talk a little bit more about your backgrounds, Ms. Cantwell, Sergeant Reid? How did you guys get involved in drones, and why did you choose to go with drones as your career?
Grace, do you want to go first?
Sure. So my background was marketing. I've been working with people and mostly in the publishing industry for about 18 years. I was in one form or another of publishing. And I met Sergeant Reid when my job was, I was selling a lot of books and textbooks into the schools and also the tech tools. So this is when tech tools just became kind of big, and teachers didn't know how to incorporate them to what they were teaching. They didn't even know what STEM or STEAM even meant at that time. And I would take my robots and I would go in and I would do presentations to schools and teachers and share with them how to use these things. So I met Sergeant Reid at that time. We started talking and I was selling drones. And I noticed that whenever I brought the drone out, that was like the most engaging tech tool that I ever had. So I thought this was fun and I'd like to learn more about it. So we started talking and it took us about a year and a half. And then suddenly the world made a way and we were able to work together. So I got my certification and started teaching alongside Sergeant Reid. And together we developed a whole program and curriculum much more extensive than what we had around drone cadets. And I'm happy to still be here doing this today because it's one of the most fun things I've ever done. I fly commercially, but my first love is to be in the classroom teaching drones and helping create safe, responsible drone pilots of any age.
That is awesome, Ms. Cantwell. Thank you so much. And how about you, Sergeant Reid? What's your background?
So the military-wise, I was exposed to drones. Let me see, way back in 2009, right? But I got trained by the Marines to utilize drones, and from there, and it took off. I literally, as I said, as I was in the Department of Corrections, because I was in law enforcement, I was like, what I know about these drones? Let me see, if we could make a program, get it going from there. And 2016, created my company. I got my drone license August 29th. When the FAA first announced it. First guy in my town knocked it out, started it out, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, that the rest is history. Literally started the program, shopped it around, met Ms. Grace, got it to our first area in Newburgh, where we're at in our home station, and it took off from there. Where I'm over here deploying here, there, everywhere, and then and in order for me to be a good instructor, I got to be in the field so I could take what worked and what didn't work, so I can make it into a curriculum. So that guys, kids, girls that want to get into it, they're like, hey, what really is out there? So I'm like, hey, I'm out there. Let me help and let me show you what we've done from all my data, and this is what worked for me, and I know it's gonna work for you. So that gotta be out there, gotta be in, so that you're creating and developing the best pilots out there for these huge corporations, man. Totally.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sergeant Reid, for sharing your background. And both of you, what is one piece of advice you would give to aspiring high school students and middle school students trying to get in the fields of drones and electronics?
Come talk to me. Oh, no. What I'd say is that if you haven't been exposed, which, unfortunately, a lot of these communities haven't been exposed, you don't know what you don't know, right? So if you're trying to literally get into it, I would say, research. Google is your friend. So Google's the best way. Find people, reach out to us. If you're looking to actually get into it step by step, we can help you get there, because I need you. I really do need you. All right. And we will get you to the point where you need to, so that you can literally, either you want to be in the job force or you want to be your own entrepreneur. Those are the biggest facets I could tell them. Stay true to you, be passionate, and stay motivated. All right. That's it, bro.
Well, I would say that I know that Sergeant Reid would love to talk to each and every one of you, but he's not allowed because he's too busy, and I need him out in the field right now. But what we can do for you is, first, let's come to our website, find out what we're doing and what we're about. When we're doing things like this, we have group times where we can talk to you and answer questions. And if you have any questions, type it in right now. But specifically, start by getting a small drone. Tello is a good one. That's one we use in schools a lot. And just start flying and see if you like to fly. You can study and get your Part 107 certification, and never having touched a drone in your life, you can become a commercial drone pilot, but you still need the other side. You have to know if you like it and how to do it. So we have an online course that it's completely separate from any school. You can take it on your own, and it'll tell you everything you need to know to get started and become a safe, responsible drone pilot. You want to definitely take that trust exam, but if you take our course first, you'll ace it. You're going to ace it anyway. You don't need to take our course first, but we go into a lot more depth than they do. So start somewhere, and you can do drone racing online. You can get a simulator and learn how to use it, with a cheap controller, less than $100, maybe like $40 or so. You can get a controller that'll work with an app on your computer and learn to do some drone racing. We also have an app coming out, a Drone Cadets app, within the next month, that'll help you use your phone, and you'll be able to use that to have like a simulator that you can, not without any kind of device. Additionally, you can start to learn to fly a drone. So do that, and then see where that takes you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cantwell, Sergeant Reid, for those pieces of advice. And now my final question. This is just a little fun one, but if I were to buy a drone, like what are the main factors I should look for? Like, for like a casual drone, just one I can fly for fun. What are like the factors I should look for?
Well, it
Price,
depends
right?
if you want to, yeah, price, but indoor versus outdoor. If you want to fly indoors, then get a drone that has the propellers are covered so that when it hits something, you're not going to break your drone as much. And they sell, like for the Tello drone that we use in a lot of our classes, they sell aftermarket cages that you can put around them so they just sort of bounce off of things. So it makes it safer. And I would recommend starting to fly indoors until you're comfortable, because you don't want to sink $1,000 into a drone. And trust me, I hear these stories all the time, and then it gets stuck in a tree and it's broken. So get comfortable with a small drone first. If it's a cheap toy drone, it might be harder to fly than if you just spent like $100 on a decent, stable drone that can self-level itself and be stable and easy to fly. So that's kind of the sweet spot.
Do you have any particular recommendation of a beginner drone?
We use the Tello. DJI Rise sells it. It's available in lots of different places. We don't sell the equipment ourselves, but we do have on our site, we have links to all the equipment that we recommend for our teachers and our people that are setting up classrooms. If you go to our website and go under shop, you'll see a whole list of equipment that you can buy.
Awesome. Well, that was my final question. And just once again, Sergeant Reid, Ms. Cantwell, thank you so much for the brilliant presentation about drones. It's this new emerging field, and I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedules in order to talk more about this emerging field and inspire our fellow attendees to, participate in this new field. Because like you guys said, in 2 to 3 years, like drones are going to be everywhere, like doing all these sorts of deliveries and sorts of rescues. And the fact that you guys are at the forefront of all this is just incredible. So I hope that everybody who was listening today gained a lot about drones from Sergeant Reid and Ms. Cantwell. And just once again, if everybody could please give both Ms. Cantwell and Sergeant Reid a warm round of applause, that would be really, really appreciated.
Well, thank you
you
so
so
much.